Hello, we are back. I am doing another stream to cover some more stuff about Videosync. Last week I spoke about how I create music videos using Videosync and the different effects and instruments and things like that. And that's all great when you can kind of create video and play it back inside Ableton Live and kind of watch it as you're playing and adjust things and get the video to your liking. But then what do you do when you actually want to create a video file and you want to share that video with people with the audio alongside it? So I just wanted to do a slightly shorter stream this time just to cover that and how I record the output from Videosync using this software called OBS and then how I share that on social using different tools. So as always, if there's any questions, just let me know as we're going along and I will do my best to keep an eye on the chat, which I can see over here, and cover them as we go. So, a little bit of a caveat. This is going to be very Mac heavy because I'm on a Mac, and there's going to be certain ways of doing things, especially with like routing audio from the Videosync output into OBS and things like that, that are probably going to be quite specific to Macs. So sorry for any Windows users, but I'm sure there's other like tutorials and stuff out there and documentation on the OBS website. So, the first thing to cover is my kind of current setup. So I've got this kind of example project here. This is actually a new single that I have coming out on Friday, and I just did a kind of like relatively quick visualization video for this with Videosync, which is just using the album art. It kind of looks like this. So it's just basically just taking like a JPEG image and then I'm using some an LFO to kind of rotate it, and other LFOs to sort of zoom in and pan around at random, basically. And then I'm using things like envelope followers to affect the blur and brightness and stuff like that to just kind of create this panning around effect. And then we've just got this automation which just controls the depth of all the sort of panning around. So if we have that to 0, it's just like this. And then if we have it like this, it's just sort of like panning around, moving around, and then it sort of slowly returns to being centralized later. So this was a really quick concept just to put some kind of visualization together so I could have something to put on YouTube with this single. So I'm mainly going to focus today though on recording this output and getting it into a video file. So the way that you do that with OBS is, well, first of all, we're using with OBS this software, so I should cover OBS briefly first. So I found OBS really confusing when I first started using it. It doesn't really do a great job, in my opinion, of like hand-holding you through any kind of process. You just load it up, and then you're kind of presented with a sort of blank like interface, and it's not really clear. It wasn't really clear to me what's actually happening and where you should put things and how things work. So I'm going to briefly cover like my understanding of how things work in OBS. Let me just stop this. So at the top here, we've got the kind of preview screen, which is essentially what OBS is going to capture, whether you're recording or streaming. And this video is a bit weird because I'm like using OBS to stream right now. You can see that here where it says like stop streaming. But then you can also use it to record video as well, so it's not just for streaming. So you've got this preview area at the top, which is sort of like a canvas where you can arrange different video sources. You can see I can kind of highlight these and move them around, so you should be able to see me kind of moving around on the screen. And this is very similar to anything like Photoshop or like MS Paint even, or like anything where you just kind of like move things around and arrange things on a canvas. So it's relatively simple in that respect. But then we've got things called scenes and sources. So scenes down the left-hand side here are essentially different configurations of how you have this screen set up, how you have the kind of preview screen set up. So this particular scene is what I'm using right now, and it has several different sources that contribute to what you see on the screen. So you've got the webcam here, which is like this little area where you can see my face. Then we've got the microphone, which is an audio source, which is how you can hear me speaking. Then we've got this Mac OS audio capture, which I use to basically record the output of the computer audio. So whatever's playing out of the computer, OBS will record that. And then I've got this main monitor source, which is how you can see my screen. So there's these 4 different sources, which we've arranged here to essentially create this scene, which you're looking at. With OBS, you can have multiple different scenes which are all pre-configured. So just like we've got this one, we can have different scenes which you can switch to, and it could be something completely different. So this is how people kind of, presumably this is how people record kind of YouTube videos or streams, where it kind of cuts from like a full kind of like a shot of their face talking to the camera, and then maybe it cuts to like them in the bottom corner and you can see their screen. They would have been 2 different scenes which they kind of switch between using this list here. If I just switch to these, you're probably not that useful. They're just going to be like random things that I haven't looked at these in a while. But you can sort of see that like that's how you can switch between different scenes and see different sources. So how do we actually get the Videosync output into OBS? So you can add lots of different kinds of sources with OBS. So one way to do that is to right click and go to add here. And you can see there's loads of different things we can pull in here, like images and even like browser tabs and things like that. But we're going to use this thing called a Siphon client. And Siphon is a technology that is used to allow routing of video in between applications, at least on a Mac. I don't know if it's works the same on Windows or if it uses something else. So Videosync already comes with support for this Siphon like interface between applications. So Videosync is basically always outputting the video that it produces or the video that it's receiving from the plugins in Ableton. It's always kind of outputting that on a Siphon sort of channel that you can then listen to within OBS and receive that video. So you can sort of see the video here already, but that's just because you're seeing my screen and I've got the Videosync application open here, which isn't actually what we use for this at all in terms of the video output, although this does have to be running for this to work because this is the thing that sends it through into the Siphon output. So anyway, we can do add here and then we can do Siphon client. You can call it something. You can see I've already got one called Videosync, but you might call it Videosync. I'll just call mine Videosync 2. And then when you click OK, it's going to ask you for a source. The only one that I have, because presumably the only application on my computer at the moment that's sending Siphon video is Videosync. So if I just click that, you can then see this video that we have. So you go to Videosync, Settings, and then change this here. I think it's just this out of the box. Though, so you shouldn't really have to change it. If you are doing portrait videos, you can just flip it like this, and then it's the same resolution, just portrait. But this is what you could keep it as for landscape. And then you just want to make sure the OBS video resolution is the same. So you can go into OBS, Preferences, and then click the Video tab down here. And then you'll be able to change these values. I can't change them because I'm streaming at the moment, but you should be able to type anything in here to match this. And I was just saying that I'm pretty sure it's just this out of the box anyway when you first load up both of these applications, so you shouldn't have to change it too much. But that just means you'll be able to drag the Videosync output to fill the whole space. So that's how to get feed into OBS, and I'm going to keep it like this just so you can see me, but for your purposes you'll have it filling the whole screen like this. And then the way that you get the audio into OBS as well, so you can record both at the same time and they're perfectly in sync. I think it's in the latest version or maybe the version before this macOS audio capture option becomes available. But if you are not on one of those versions, I believe this isn't available in OBS, and you just won't see it here. But there's another way that you can do that in that case, is you can use software that you can get to enable you to like route audio in between applications. The one I use is this Black Hole software, which is free. And what this does is you install it on your computer and you basically just get additional audio outputs and inputs wherever you would have them on your computer. So up here, you get this extra audio output, and then in anywhere where you've got a microphone, like live for example, like this, you get this extra audio input. And it just gives you a way to route audio in using it as an output, so you can route audio into here. And then it will come out the other end wherever you use that kind of audio input source. One thing people use this for is for like recording any sound that their computer is making. You can just choose black hole as the output, and then you can go into something like Ableton and choose black hole as the input, and then you can just record like any other sound source, and it will record any sound your computer's making. So that is, we can use that if you don't have the latest version of macOS and you don't see this option in OBS. You can just install something like Black Hole, and then you'll be able to go into Ableton and choose that as an output like this. And then you can come into OBS and you can choose it as an input. So you would do audio input capture like this. And then you would choose black hole like this, and then you effectively just get the same effect. It's just receiving all of your computer audio. I'm going to delete that from mine because I don't need that, but that's how you would do that if you didn't have this version of macOS. Okay, so the last thing to do is essentially like hit record, and if I come back in here and let's come back over here. So I'm going to, while I record this, I'm going to drag this over the whole screen. After I drag this over the screen, all I'm going to do is just hit this start recording button here. And then you'll see it will light up blue, and then I'm going to choose stop recording, and it will have created a video file on my computer. So let's just do that. So I'm hitting start recording now. I know you can't see it, but I've hit start recording. It's now changed and it's blue and it says stop recording. I'm going to let it run for a few seconds. And then I'm going to hit stop recording. Okay. So you'll notice that it's like still playing in Ableton, but I'm just going to switch back and do that. I also forgot to mention that I usually put this all the way up to 0. I think when you first load this in, it might be like -3 or something. But I put this all the way up to 0 just because I'm confident that the audio coming out of Ableton is like the maximum volume it's going to be is 0 dB. So you just want to make sure it's like that, so you get it the same loudness as it is in Ableton. You won't have this here. Obviously, this is just my mic. macOS audio capture or the black hole audio capture is the only one that you would see here, and the only thing making noise. If you don't see the sound levels bouncing around, you might have it on mute like this, so you might just need to unmute it, or the volume might be down all the way down like that, so you might just need to pull it all the way up. Anyway, so once you've hit start recording, and I can show you what it looks like now. So you can do start recording, it kind of goes blue like this, and then you just stop recording. By default for me, these all show up in my movies folder on my Mac, so you find that in your user folder and then movies. So this one will be the one that we just recorded. So you can hit spacebar now. On a Mac. Whoops, you can't see it, but I've hit start recording. It's now changed and it's blue and it says stop recording. I'm gonna let it. Obviously, you can hear me speaking because that's recorded all of the output in OBS. In your case, it will just record the video feed, and it won't record any microphone audio or anything like that because you won't have any. But you can see we've created this recording of the output from Videosync. Now, if you're doing this, or when I'm doing this, for an actual recording from Videosync in order to like create a video, you'll obviously want to kind of time it. So you put the playhead back here, you come into OBS, you hit start recording, and then you jump back here, hit play, and then like play the whole thing through, and then come back here and hit stop recording when it reaches the end. So you basically just have to kind of watch it all the way through, record, and hit stop record at the end, and then you'll get a full video. You might end up with little spaces, little kind of black screen like at the start and the end, because obviously you can't time it exactly right. If you want to trim those, there's two ways to do that on a Mac. You can do this spacebar thing again. You can't see it, but can I just mute that? Yeah. You can do the spacebar option again, and then you get this button up here which allows you to just trim it quickly This is called Quick Look. You can trim it quickly in Quick Look, so you can just like cut off the beginning, cut off the end, and then hit done. It will ask you if you want to save that as a new clip or just overwrite the one you've got, and I usually just overwrite the one I've got, so replace. And now we've got the same clip just with the kind of ends cut off. So that's relatively quick to do in that way. You can also just do it in QuickTime if you open it with QuickTime. You can do the same thing effectively. So if you do edit, trim, and then you get like the same kind of interface. And you can just trim it and you get the same output basically. There's a couple of ways of doing that. Okay, so then you'll be left with this video file. That's how to do a landscape video. The process is the same for a portrait video, like if you're doing stuff for Instagram or TikTok and so on, or YouTube Shorts. You just want to make sure that the video output here is like rotated, so it's 1080 by 1920. I find it a bit annoying with OBS that you can't have different resolutions for different scenes. So you can't just have like a scene. I would like to have like a scene of portrait recordings and then a scene of landscape recordings, and then you can just kind of switch between them easily, but you can't do that. You have to kind of, well, to my knowledge, you can't do that. You need to come in here and change the resolution. And then you'll likely, I can't do that because I'm streaming, but you'll likely then need to resize the video output. If you change it in Videosync over here, if we change this to portrait, you'll see the incoming video into OBS is now portrait, so we're still looking at this Videosync source, but now it's switched to this portrait size. So then once we change the OBS resolution, you'll be able to kind of drag and fit it nicely into the portrait screen and it will fit exactly again. And then you just do the same thing. You just start recording and stop recording. So that's how you can do the same, but for portrait recordings. So the last thing I'm going to cover now, and unless there's any questions now, please put them in the chat. I'm pretty sure I just kind of went through that quite quickly. But the last thing I'm going to cover is then just how I post to social platforms. So I post my videos out to YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And the fastest way I've found to do that for me is to use Buffer. So Buffer is a social media management tool. It lets you post out to multiple platforms at once. If you pay for Buffer, you can post out to loads of different platforms at once, but you can also just use it completely free, and they let you publish to 3 platforms at once. So the best way I've found to do this is to post to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts all at the same time, and then Blue Sky I do slightly differently, which I'll come on to in a sec. So the way that you post to your channels from Buffer is you just click this big blue New button at the top after you've got all your accounts connected. You click New here, New Post, and then you just want to highlight all the channels that you want to post to. So I just post to all 3 every time. So you highlight all 3, and then you put whatever the contents of the post you want to be. So this will be in the description on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok. And then we will drag our new video file onto this like this. Or you can just click it and browse your computer and upload. Once that's uploaded, we can click this Customize for each network. And we're just going to get this little thing on YouTube because YouTube Shorts require a title. So you just have to come in here and do that. And then once that's done, oh, I've done like a weird dimensions for this video, so it's not liking it. Wonder why it doesn't like this. 1920 by 1080. I know you can't. That seems fine. Video dimensions are invalid. Only square and portrait aspect ratios are accepted. Maybe I'm going to just try that with a different video that I did earlier, which I know is fine. Try and find one. Test. That's just me testing stuff. Let's just do one. Although I can't change that. Let's try again. Just going to hit start recording again, and start recording. And I'm not going to edit it or anything. And I'm going to resize this back so you can see me again. And come in here, which is the one that I just did. Oh, I selected the wrong one. This is in a different order here, as it is on my computer. Whoops, as it is on my computer here. So this one, like the newest ones are at the bottom, and then in this picker, the newest ones are at the top. And I picked one that I recorded a while ago, which wasn't in the right resolution. I think that's why it's done it. And now I've chosen the right video. We shouldn't get any problems. It's still going to tell us we need a title for YouTube Shorts. Oh, it doesn't like... Oh, that's fine. Ugh, needs to be longer than 3 seconds. Hang on. Try and use the one that I did, but didn't select properly. So that should be this one. So you... No, this one. I've hit start. Okay. Hopefully that's longer than 3 seconds. Okay. Oh, still doesn't like the dimensions on YouTube. How strange. I have never had that before. Let's just not post to YouTube for now. Anyway, so then you can click here, click share now, and it will basically just post out to all of them at once. And then once you've got that, I basically then just use the YouTube link and post it to add it onto my Blue Sky post, because the YouTube short link will embed on Blue Sky, so you don't actually need to push out to Blue Sky using Buffer, because you can just use the YouTube short link and it will still be playable and everything in the Blue Sky app. MJP, you said if you want to post on YouTube channels, you need to go to Buffer, and can you just do it directly? You can definitely just do it directly. All of these, you can just do them directly, and they all have web, like desktop interfaces you can use on your computer. So if we go to YouTube, for example, you can go to YouTube Studio, click Create, upload videos, and then you can just go through this process. So you can just click Select Files, and you can choose the files on your computer, and then you can add a title, description, etc. And you can do the same on all the others. So you can do that on Instagram as well, for example. If we come in here and click on New, I guess. Oh no, that's highlight. I've never actually done that. Oh no, it's here. New post here, and then you can do the same thing and go through the process. And then the same with TikTok has a website as well, and Blue Sky as well. So yeah, that's just, but that kind of process of uploading to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and then using the YouTube link on Blue Sky is the fastest way I've found to get it across all 4 of them. And of course, you'll notice on here that we had some more options rather than just adding to the queue. You can actually schedule it for a certain time. So you can schedule posts in advance with Buffer, and you can do that like as far in advance as you want. I'm pretty sure. So you can do it like months in advance. So if you wanted to, you could schedule like weeks and weeks of content, which I did do at the end of last year, where I made a load of like shorts and scheduled them to go out over like 8 weeks, and then I wasn't actually making video during that time. It was all just kind of going out pre-scheduled, so that's pretty useful too. Cool. That was everything I wanted to cover in this shorter video. Appreciate it was a bit of a whirlwind tour, and it's a bit tricky using OBS and showing people how to use OBS at the same time. But hopefully that was like useful to someone, and relatively clear. Is there any other questions or anything that I didn't cover that people were hoping to cover? Or any just general Videosync questions? Definitely happy to go through anything with Videosync. Which one is it? If there's no questions, then I might just wrap up. Cool. Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. And hopefully